They said winter was coming at the very beginning. We're now into season 3. And we're beginning to see some White Walkers. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. It's time for season 3 of Game of Thrones to get underway. Season 1, for me, still head and shoulders the best season that we've watched so far of this show. And yes, we've only watched 2 seasons, but I still think season 1 was a hell of a lot better than season 2. Not that season 2 was bad. So I thought season 2 was decent. It was pretty good. But it wasn't quite season 1. And here's hoping that season 3 can bounce back.
Season 1 was very conclusive. Also had Ned Stark in it, which goes a long way. And Robert Baratheon. Season 2 just feels like a bit part player to the rest of this show. It feels like it's just in there to tide over.
Season 2 season 1 was a strong start. Season 2, in my opinion, didn't follow through. It didn't, but...
It fell through the arse.
Yeah, it fell through the arse, but we're not going to fall through the arse, guys. So make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, comment down below. We ain't going away. We're not dipping in quality. We're not taking a season off. We're here, 100%, full speed, season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. If they want to bring out a season 9, we'll be here, and we'll be giving you a 10 out of 10 performance. But let's get into it. Let's get into this review then, and we'll go over every little thing that happens. Now, when it comes to Game of Thrones, instead of going through chronological order in terms of events that happened in the episode, we tend to just break it down by section and what's happening in which location, because I think that's the easiest way to do Game of Thrones. Plus, the Wikipedia page does it that way, and if we're reading up that, then it helps. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've done it since day 1, so it's day what? 21?
21. We ain't gonna change. So we start behind the wall. We see some White Walkers. We see Samuel Tarly. He's wandering through. He gets saved by Ghost. We see Lord Commander Jorah Mormont killing it, and that's obviously Jon Snow is gone, and to me, I don't know, the Night's Watch without Jon Snow, it's a bit of a downgrade.
It's like the Day's Watch, isn't it? It's not that good.
Good night.
The lights are turned on. It's like a fucking job.
It's like the Night's Watch without Jon Snow's the number one guy there. You take him out of the equation.
All of a sudden, it's
a bit like Winterfell when there was nobody interesting.
Aye.
So
is still the same.
Still the same. So yeah, the Night's Watch. It is what it is. Jon Snow is then obviously with the wildlings. He is led by Ygritte into their camp. He meets this real life giant that seems to be about 40 foot tall, a massive thing, which is pretty big, to be honest.
But we've never seen anything like this. This just doesn't. This feels like Lord of the Rings. I didn't like this.
Yeah, Jon.
It's like seeing you see the mountain and the hound. It's like, aye, they're big men, but they're not fucking ridiculous. It's not breaking the laws of physics. This big thing is.
This thing makes the mountain look more like a pebble.
Or a hill.
A hill's still pretty big.
A pebble.
Aye.
But we're sticking to nature.
Alright, a bump on the road.
Aye.
No
roads in this time though, so we'll stick with hill.
But hills could be massive.
An anthill then.
Right, so Jon's led into the camp. He bows down to the king beyond the wall, Mance Rayder. But they say, look, you don't do that here. You don't bow down here. And they want to know why he's here and why he wants to join them. They hear that Jon killed Corrin, and that pleases them because I guess they don't like anybody in the Night's Watch. And Lord of Bones explains that he is Eddard Stark's bastard son, and even though I feel like everybody sort of respects Ned, even if they were on opposing sides, it's like when they find out you're Ned's bastard son or non-bastard son, it's almost like,
is that not a bit forced though? Is that not all there's that character we killed in season 1. It's like, don't want to talk about Mayans, but it's like, oh, Jack Stella, that guy. It's like, oh, Ned Stark, that guy. When is Jon Snow going to get introduced to a bunch of people, and they're not going to be like, there's Ned Stark's bastard? Is that day ever going to come?
Yeah, I guess maybe it'll come one day. Mance Rayder says he's glad that Jon killed him because Corin killed many of the wildlings, and I mean, I guess we're going to see Jon Snow now join the wildlings, and Jon Snow says basically the reason he gave up on his brotherhood was because when he got to Castor's Keep, he saw Craster leave his newborn son in the woods as an offering for the White Walkers, and they just let it happen. The Night's Watch allowed it. Mormont knew.
I actually like the wildlings. You know, you've been led to believe that they're bastards at the end of the day, and they seem dead on to me.
Yeah, so Jon says he wants to fight for the side who fights for the living. And
that was a pretty good line for Jon Snow.
It was. Mance is satisfied, and he advises Jon to get a new cloak. So obviously Jon's wearing the whole, black cloak that makes him look like a crow or a raven.
A raven, never called the raven, never more.
So he's traded that in, and now it looks like Jon Snow's a fully fledged member of the Wildlings.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the same shit, doesn't it? It's like, see with the Brotherhood, see when they first got announced, oh, you're going to the Wall. They make it believe that like the Wall is like the furthest you go north. Then you're introduced to Craster and that nonsense bastard. Then it's like, oh, but the Wildlings are actually extra north.
True, but I think
who's past the Wildlings then?
Yeah, no,
Santa?
but the Night's Watch is like still part of like the Seven Kingdoms, aren't they? Whereas the Wildlings are not under that jurisdiction. Yeah, that's beyond my jurisdiction, kind of. So it's like, I guess the Night's Watch is as far north as like the king acknowledges, and then anything beyond that, he's like, that's kind of no-go territory.
No go, so.
So in King's Landing, we see King Joffrey. He's standing victorious after the Battle of Blackwater, despite not doing anything. He is obviously settling in with his new allies, House Tyrell. We see him and Margaery then. Obviously, they're going to get married. They're joining forces. Cersei, though, and Margaery, you can just tell they aren't going to get along. And I think that's because Margaery seems to not cower down. She seems to have like a backbone, and I don't think Cersei likes that, and she doesn't want that for Joffrey. She wants someone like Sansa who's just going to stand there and do what she's told and not have her own opinions and basically just be moulded. I mean, you feel like Cersei could just like manipulate her and mould her into being the perfect little wife for Joffrey, whereas with Margaery, it doesn't seem that's going to happen.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I think you have to do this, so I think you have to go for a different. If you just create Sansa 2.0, I mean, who cares? You need something different. As for this, though, I don't know, I think King's Landing just felt a wee bit better when fucking Stannis was at the front doors.
Yep.
But again, we do get... No, I'll tell you what, though. Tywin's in the doors. He's in there. We do... Tyrion... His scar's not as bad as I once thought it would be. Last season he gets sliced up like a bit of meat on a kebab. Paul?
Yeah, I mean, his scar's not that bad, but something that might scar him is the fact that his father did not come to visit him. And when Tyrion goes to visit his father, Tywin basically says, well, look, I knew you weren't going to die, so what was the point? Plus, I don't give a shit about you. And, Jaime may have gave up all his right to inherit my land, but you ain't getting it. Tyrion wanted to get the keys to, you call it?
Blackrock?
No.
Casterly Rock?
Casterly Rock, but...
There's a lot of people, like, Game of Thrones fans, whatever, they all bum like Tyrion. I like Tyrion, I think he's funny, right? But see the fact that he's like, I fought Daddy for 10 seconds and got my face slashed, and then I got my life saved by somebody else. Can I not have the rights to the rock? I mean, fucking wise up, you wee midget bastard, alright? Tywin. I mean, how naive...
Calm down here, you put up more of a fight than Joffrey.
But Joffrey's pish.
Anyway, Tywin's like, nah, you ain't getting that. I'm not going to let you embarrass me. Casterly Rock was my father and his father's before him. And he says that, I can't prove you're not my son, and it hurts to watch you waddle around, and I have to let you bear my name, but I'll be damned if I let you turn Casterly Rock into a whorehouse. And this obviously upsets Tyrion. Now, Tywin did say that he would be rewarded for his efforts in the war, but I guess Tyrion wanted what Tywin wasn't willing to give him, and Tyrion just walks off feeling unsatisfied with how this
I
situation
mean, it was a
went.
pretty sad scene because he's like basically getting berated by his father at the end of the day. But I mean, it's like Jamie didn't have the rights to Casterly Rock, right? And he was like, "Oh, but yo, I was out there, my face got slashed." Man, I think Tywin would be like, "Hold on here, you did your duty as a Lannister. You tried to defend our kingdom. You think you're owed this? Fucking reel it in."
Well, I mean, I guess by rights, if Jamie's not inheriting it, then Tyrion should.
He should, but here, as Tywin says, "You're a diddy man. You're not getting hee haw." But
Yeah.
again, say Tyrion, right, was very respectful, and like he wasn't into whores and all that stuff. And I mean, I guess they all kind of are in their weird own way. Like, but it's like I think Tywin's right though. I think he would turn it into a fucking laughing stock. I mean, you have to admit that.
Do you think if Tyrion was respectable and didn't sleep around and drink all day, do you think Tywin wouldn't resent him as much for being
I think so, yeah.
a dwarf?
I think he'd still resent him, like, but I mean, let's be honest, yeah, being a midget, it does make you a wee bit less effective in warfare, but you could still be good with a bow and arrow.
I guess so. We see Bronn, who he's been knighted now after his services in the Battle of Blackwater, and he's kind of demanding more money. He wants a upgraded pay from Tyrion, which I guess kind of makes sense now that he has been given an upgrade, a new title. We see Margaery Tyrell when they're going through the Flea Bottom. She stops and visits an orphanage. All these kids have been recently orphaned, I guess, after their fathers and maybe their mothers died as well, I guess, in the Battle of Blackwater. So she goes to visit them and she gives out some toys and gives out some food, and Joffrey is watching on and he can't believe this because he sees Margaery being kind and this guy doesn't know the fucking meaning of kind. And I mean, I read when he first sees it, it's almost like he is appreciative of it or he like respects it.
Yeah, like almost flabbergasted at the same time, but it's like, yeah, you look at Joffrey. I'm not saying he's a great guy because even before he was king, he was an arsehole and he had that butcher's boy kilt and all that stuff. But it is Cersei just working this guy like a puppet at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we know that we know he's an arsehole and he's evil, but maybe that's his parents maybe necessarily didn't help.
And I was about to say, well, Robert wasn't that good, and then I went, actually, hold on, it's Jamie, it's not Robert.
So maybe you look at his parents, and the apple doesn't fall from the tree, but Joffrey defends Margaery anyway, and he criticises his mother, and Cersei, you can just see that she looks on, and I mean, she fears that she's been on the verge of being outmaneuvered, and she knew that she never had to worry about that with Sansa, but with Margaery, she's got her work cut out for her, I believe. Peter Baelish, Littlefinger speaks with Sansa, and he's going to try and get her out of King's Landing next time he leaves. So we've got that.
Yeah, but she had her chance, man. The Hound's like, let's go. And,
yeah.
Now she's like, what, willing to... I think that's a bit of a plot hole. It's like she's not willing to go with the Hound, but she'll fucking listen to the guy you wouldn't trust to run a bath.
Yeah, but I guess she doesn't know not to trust him.
True, but she would trust the Hound over this guy more.
Well,
a taxi ride out of King's Landing with the biggest bastard in town.
Littlefinger's a childhood friend of her mother, isn't he? The Hound's some scary guy that kills people.
Saved her life.
Well, that is very true. Davos is rescued, and he meets up with Salladhor Saan, and he takes him back to Stannis. Yeah, Stannis.
So I actually thought some pretty good, decent dialogue between these two.
Yeah, no, definitely. Stannis thought Davos was dead, and Davos was like, I thought you were dead as well.
And I actually forgot. It's like the lady, the mystical lady, actually was going to go into King's Landing, but Davos was like, go fuck yourself, you're not going in. We don't want to use your black magic.
Yeah, now Davos goes back after he hears from Salladhor that she's began to conduct human sacrifices. So he tells Stannis that basically, look, you can't trust her. She's been a disaster. She's the reason we lost because you believe in this, witchcraft bullshit. And that's pretty much it. But Stannis thinks that he lost because of Davos, and that Davos was not willing to bring Mr. Landry with them. on their attack at Blackwater. So Stannis has...
No, that's weak for Stannis, man. You're the king, mate. If you want to bring her, then bring her. Yeah, I get it. Davos is high up. He's your right-hand man. He's your VP. He's whatever you want him to be. But Stannis is the guy that's king. If Stannis has the balls to run into King's Landing first, I think he's got the balls to tell Davos to sit down. No?
Yeah, but...
Anyway, Davos gets took away. Hope he doesn't die, but...
Yeah, I mean, when Miss Landry basically said to Davos here, it's your fault that all those men burned to death, including your son. He draws a knife on her, but he's restrained by the guards, and Stannis orders to put him in a dungeon. So there you go. Stannis
what
is
next
still...
for Blackwater? That's what they are, isn't it? Blackwater?
No, they're in Dragonstone.
Dragonstone? That was a Battle of Blackwater?
Battle of Blackwater.
What next for Dragonstone? Does Stannis regroup?
Oh, he's licking his wounds.
I would give Robb Stark a phone call or somebody like that. Even though he can't do a phone call or Raven, I'd be like, we need to team up, man.
That would be the best thing to do, because, I mean, I'm sure Robb would be willing to fight for Stannis, considering Ned...
But Robb just wanted revenge. He didn't even want the crown.
Exactly.
It's the perfect...
No, 100%.
I mean, we may as well talk about Robb Stark and co now, yeah?
Well, we're going to Harrenhal. Let's just move to Harrenhal. In the Riverlands, we've got King Robb Stark's army is beginning to wane. So he's not had a big victory since the Battle of Oxcross, and that was months ago. So yeah, basically not a lot happened, to be honest.
Yeah, they just see a bunch of dead bodies, and then he's like, "Lock my mother up."
Yeah,
fucking Catelyn Stark, man. They're still on the trail of Jaime Lannister and your big woman, but again, it's like, what was Catelyn Stark thinking, man?
Yeah, so they get there and they get to Harrenhal and they find that the Lannisters have massacred 200 Northern and Riverlands prisoners of the war before they left, and basically the courtyards are just full of bodies, but they do find one survivor, a maester named Qyburn. And then Robb's like, lock my mother away. And it just goes to show that, I mean, the Lannisters ruthless here, just killed all these prisoners.
That's what you've got to do, though. It's like, it's like there's no positive to keeping them alive, because, I mean, the only one you could argue is a trade, but if you keep them alive, you have to feed them, you have to water them, that's supplies that your group need, and then also it's like, well, what if they get free? That's like 200 extra men against you.
Aye, so I mean, I can kind of understand why they don't bother keeping prisoners.
Ned wouldn't kill them, no.
No, Ned would keep them alive.
Ned would go hungry to help them.
Cut off his fucking own fat to feed them. Then we're in Astapor with Daenerys, and she arrives on a ship. She tries to buy a bunch of the Unsullied. Jorah Mormont says they are among the best soldiers in the world. We have some guy, and I honestly do not know his name, but who is this? He's got some weird name that I cannot pronounce. I think it's like Krenaze or something like that, and he's the owner. He starts cutting off one of their nipples to show that they don't feel pain, and that they're the perfect soldiers.
I feel like this was the best Daenerys stuff we've seen. I actually thought the dialogue between this guy and his woman that was translating the Daenerys it was pretty funny. But again, it's Daenerys stuff. You've seen it once, you've seen it all.
Yeah,
it's about time we've seen her somewhere where there wasn't sand.
I agree. He's insulting her, saying that they smell of piss and all this stuff, and I guess he's gonna wait in the morning, and he will get an offer for Daenerys. He says he has 8,000 of these Unsullied to sell, and we wonder what the price of that will be. But later that night, Jorah and Daenerys then come across a girl who's playing she's just playing, but she gets followed by a man in a black hooded cloak. Daenerys offers a gift to the child, but the child then, I don't even know what this was, but the child starts to have claws or something come out of its mouth, and there was some sort of fucking poisonous large insect that popped out of this ball that the child was giving Daenerys. I guess it was going to try and kill Daenerys, but this black hooded cloak stepped in, took care of the danger. The girl then jumped into the water to escape, and it was none other than Sir Barristan Selmy. former Lord Commander of Robert Baratheon's Kingguard. He falls to his knees and he says that following Robert's death and his dismissal by Joffrey, he's been searching for Daenerys Stormborn to beg for her forgiveness and offer his services because he believes that she is the rightful queen, and he asks to serve in her Queensguard as the episode comes to an end. So, sell me Barristan here, changing teams. Which I guess is fine because he was kicked off his own team, so...
Yeah, that is fine, I guess, but you've got him and their other right-hand man. It's like you've got those two honourable guys, two guys you would trust, and then the fucking rest of them. The desert people, the jobbers, the camel-piss drinkers. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, a bunch of Dothraki guys that can't speak any English.
And potentially the other guys with no balls.
And no nipples. Well, one of them's got no nipples.
So nipples. Anyway, I thought it was a pretty tame start to the season, but... It's the Game of Thrones way. Game of Thrones, it's a weird show.
It is a weird show. Like, I thought this episode was alright, man, but it left me wanting more. I thought it was okay.
You know what I think suits this show is because, like, we've already watched 2 seasons of House of the Dragon. I feel like House of the Dragon puts the expectations a wee bit lower, and I think that's where Game of Thrones comes in. It's like, we were actually much better than that.
Yeah, I like the stuff. I like the stuff with Davos and Stannis. I like the stuff with Tyrion and Tyrion. For once, I actually think the Daenerys stuff wasn't that bad. And that was probably the best that the episode got, in my opinion. So I think I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10 as well. But if you look at the episode as a whole, it's like, could you have missed it? Like, what was ground... Like, yes, Sir Ballister at the end, I mean, that's pretty big, I guess. But, I mean, Jon Snow's joining the Wildlings. But when you take it back, it's like...
Felt more like a episode 2 or 3 for me, not really a premiere.
Aye, but maybe episode 2 or 3 will feel like episode 1.
Maybe we'll get a good episode next time, guys. Anyway, that's it. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one. Fog Entertainment. Peace out.